The Tearing It Up podcast is back and she's better than ever. Guess what opened today? The New York Marathon Lottery. And you're probably thinking, Taryn, what? So yeah, I guess like honestly, if you want to start making content, just do it. Just do it. Hey bitches, we're back. Welcome back to the Tearing It Up podcast, guys. You might have thought this was over. You might have thought Tearing It Up podcast gone with the wind, canceled. She doesn't exist no longer. What happened to her? Well, guess what? We are back. I'm live from my couch in my living room of my apartment. And last time you saw me, I was on my bed. At one point it was a mattress on the floor and then it was a bed. And that's kind of where I was recording for a couple of episodes last year. And you know, I owe you guys a big update because I launched this podcast and I was so excited about it. And I did like 10 or so episodes. And then she went dark. She went ghost. And people have been like, what the fuck, Taryn? What happened? When are you uploading another episode? Did we lose you? And yeah, so I owe you guys an explanation there. Because a lot has happened between when I decided to launch this podcast and now, and I want to explain kind of why I fell off and why we're back and how this is going to go from now on. Because look, last year, to take you back, when I really started focusing more on social media and being more consistent with it, and when I left my corporate job and I was like, okay, I want to start freelancing and I want to start a podcast and I want to start YouTube and I want to post 3 times a day. I thought, when I left my corporate job, I was like, I'm going to have so much more time now to focus on not only my own social media, but my own like freelance, like adventures and side hustles. And I thought I was just going to have all the time in the world to do all these things. And I kind of thought last year in order to like make it as a content creator, I had to do everything and I had to do it right. And I had to be super good at it. And I had to be super consistent. And that's definitely true. I mean, that helps. Hey, it helps a lot. But safe to say, I bit off more than I could chew last year. And I was like, okay, I have a YouTube now, and then I have a podcast, and then I'm posting 3 times a day. And then I also am freelancing. And while I thought not working my corporate job, I was going to have way more time on my hands, I really didn't. Like, I was quite the busy bee. Now, all that to say, busy in a good way, busy doing things that I like, for the most part. So we love that for me. But also I was like, holy shit, I was just overwhelmed. So when I launched it, I was like, okay, I can keep up with this. I'm going to, record every week, pre-record, edit so that the episode can come out. And it was going great for the first, handful of episodes. And then, okay, also backstory, I have to backtrack. I went off ADHD medication last year. I actually don't remember the exact month, but it was last year at some time around when I was starting to create and make the podcast and record episodes. And let me just tell you, when you are on ADHD medication, you think that you can do anything. You're like, I can quite literally solve world hunger, run for president, run for mayor, and save all the homeless animals all in 1 week. Like, that's sometimes how it feels. So again, when I first started this, I was like, I can do anything. I can do it. I got it. I got this. I can edit it and produce it and do it all myself. And while maintaining all my other platforms at the same time and work and whatever. And so I went off of it. And around this time, this is when I'm, needing to record episodes and get them out. And I was struggling mentally a lot. Anyone who has gone off ADHD medication after being on it consistently, it's very hard. It's very hard to stay motivated. I felt like the easiest way I can explain it is like ADHD medication made me lose my sparkle, but being off of it also, like, it was so hard for me to refine my sparkle. I just felt like I had nothing to say and I was dumb. I just felt dumb. That's the way I'd explain it, is I felt dumb for weeks on end, months on end during this. And during this process, I had talked to my doctor about how I was feeling. And I was like, I just feel like I can't get anything done. I have no motivation. I was just putting things off and procrastinating them. It wasn't good. And so I was feeling really depressed. Sorry, didn't include that in there. But because of all these things, I started to feel depressed and I was feeling really sad. I wasn't really exercising much. I just was super in my own head and really lacked any sort of drive. It was hard for me to get up in the morning. So I went on Wellbutrin, which Wellbutrin is an antidepressant that is a little more low key than like your typical like SSRI, which is, like Prozac or Lexapro. Wellbutrin's kind of what they start you with. And then if that doesn't work, you move into like SSRI, something more, I don't know if I want to say the word serious, but something more strong. I don't know. But Wellbutrin there isn't like crazy side effects really with it, except girl, let me tell you, I had one. I'll tell you about that. And it's supposed to, help depression and anxiety. I was feeling super anxious at this time because I couldn't get anything done, which just caused me to be anxious, which then caused me to be depressed. Hey, it was not fun. And so I went on this new medication. That was a whole process in itself. This is kind of around the time when I was recording the last few episodes for Tearing It Up. And after like a month or two of that, I had to go off of it because it made me constipated as fuck, you guys. Sorry if this is TMI. Everything was great with Wellbutrin. Honestly, like I didn't have any crazy side effects and I thought it was, working for me relatively well. It constipated me so bad that I was depressed because of my constipation. Like, explain to me how a medication can be so bad that you're depressed because you're so constipated. So yeah, it was really bad and I just could not go to the bathroom. I tried to hold it out for like a month and a half or 2 months, taking laxatives constantly, which is not good for you. Nothing was working and I was painfully bloated all the time. Moral of the story is but late last year, when I was supposed to be staying consistent with this new podcast that I was so excited about, I was just going through a lot of changes mentally and honestly physically, and I was not feeling good. So on top of that, as I'm trying to record episodes for Tearing It Up and get them out, I am putting so much pressure on myself to I don't even know. I just was putting so much pressure on myself to create something super, super good. And nothing was good enough for me. And I would sit down and I would record episodes and it wouldn't be good enough. And I wouldn't think it was interesting enough, or I wasn't funny enough, or I wasn't endearing enough for me to think it was good enough to put out there. And I got really insecure about it. And I got so in my own head and I would just procrastinate because I just felt honestly insecure about it. If I'm being real, I just got really insecure about this. And I'm not blaming it on just all the medication switches or whatnot, but it was a multitude of things. My sleep wasn't good. The medication switches, my ADHD was really bad at this time. On top of that, in Q4 was just a really busy quarter for me with so many different things going on that I really had to, the focus that I did have, I really had to put on those things. On top of that, in Q4, there was just a lot of travel that happened. And yeah, a lot of unforeseen things happened. And then I was just putting all this pressure on myself. And I just realized, I took a step back and I was like, girl, nothing good comes out of anything when you put this much stress and pressure on yourself to do something good. And I would compare myself a lot. I would listen to other podcasts and podcasts that I like, and I would be like, wait, no, mine has to be insightful and providing this immense value. And if it doesn't, it's not good enough. Or these podcasts already talk about these topics. So if I do, who cares? That's already out there. So why should I? Y'all, I was so in my head. I've never been so in my head about anything, which I don't know why, because in reality, it sounds so easy to sit down and yap to a camera about anything. And I realized that my podcast, I don't need to make this some podcast that has this absolutely crucial, groundbreaking information that's going to change your life and give you a 360. I'm not fucking Mel Robbins, okay? But I was thinking at the time that I had to be interesting to a level of being different than everybody else or whatever it was in order for this to be good enough for me. So moral of the story, I think I explained it kind of all over the place, but that's what was going through my head at the time as I was in the last few episodes of recording this. And then I decided in December, I was like, I'm going to take a month off in December. I'm going to go home for the holidays. I'm going to be with my family, and I'm going to reassess in January where I am with everything. And we'll bring it back in January when I feel more clear-headed January rolled around. I have spent the last 5 weeks really trying to better myself from where I was at last year. And I guess what that looks like is I've been exercising pretty much every day, but not like over exercising. I've just been being active. I've been walking and I've been going to workout classes that I like. And if I miss a workout, it's not a big deal. I haven't been putting like a ton of pressure on myself about it, but I've been exercising a lot more. I've been spending a lot more time in my own head and reflecting, and I've been reading more, and I've just really spent the last 5 weeks to pull myself together and feel a lot better mentally than I was last year. I'm no longer on the antidepressant. Anyways, over the last month or so, I came to the realization that I can just do this and I can just sit down and I can talk about whatever the fuck I want, whether it's, I don't know, what I ate this past fucking weekend, or it's recent things I've been loving, or it's how I've just been feeling the last couple of days, or it's talking about how I stepped in Cowboy's wet vomit yesterday when I got out of bed. And that's fine. And if you want to listen to it and stick around, great. And if you don't, also great. I don't really care. But I'm actively making the decision to not put this immense pressure on myself to create some extraordinary thing, because that's never what the point of this was in the beginning. And I have to realize too that things I say are going to be things that people have probably already said before and that there's probably other podcasts about, and that's fucking fine. So yeah. And I don't know, this applies to anything really that you want to do, I think, because I'm not in my head a lot about like my own content on like social media and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, this was the thing that I was in my head about. And I think it's because there are so many podcasts out there that are like so high production and so insightful, and they have these amazing guests and everything, and they're signed by these big media agencies. And I just felt like mine wasn't enough. And and that's not how I think about things in life, but for whatever reason, this is how I was thinking about it. And so, yeah, I guess like, honestly, if you want to start making content, or you want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel, or if you want to start learning pottery or art or making music or whatever it is, just do it. Just do it and stop overthinking it. Because if you just sit there and overthink it day after day after day and don't just do it, no matter how good or how bad it is, there's nothing is ever going to come of it ever. It's just, you're going to just sit stagnant and you'll never know what could have been. Also listening to Mel Robbins this last month has helped me too, because, you know, she talks a lot about how like, you just got to get up and fucking do it. No one's going to do it for you. No one's coming. No one's going to come and hold your hand and make you do it. You have to do it. And so just do it. Just do it. Nike. It's so much easier said than done, because let me tell you, I've been in my head about this for the past couple of months. So when I say this, just know I've been struggling hard with it, but here I am sitting here just doing it. Just doing it. Guys, let them let them think your podcast sucks. I don't give a fuck. Think it sucks. Think it sucks. Okay. I'm gonna let you. I saw a TikTok today that was like, oh, I'm getting audited for tax fraud. Let them. I'm getting sued. Let them. No, literally. But actually don't let them when it comes to things like that. But like in this case, do let them. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight of why I stopped. And I'm really sorry. I want to formally apologize if I got you excited about the podcast and you loved listening and you were super invested and you were a listener that was loyal to me. First off, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for supporting me. And second off, I'm sorry, because I hate to think about people that were like, wait, yay, new podcast, and I love it, and I'm listening every week. And then I just dropped off the face of the earth. So again, I'm really sorry, but what I am here to say is that we're back, and I'm not putting nearly as much overthinking stress into this. I'm just going to sit down once a week and I'm going to talk to you guys about whatever the fuck. And I'm not going to act like I need to be goddamn Mel Robbins, because I'm not. I'm just a girl that's 26 and I have some fun and interesting things I think to say and insights to give. But if I don't that week, that's okay. And I don't need to overthink it. So yeah, whatever you're overthinking right now in your life, again, whether it's like content or starting a new hobby or whatever, it's time. It's time to just fucking do it. Another thing I used to get on myself about was like, it's so hard for me to stay on one topic, and like I'd never feel like my sentences and thoughts flow very well because of my neurodivergent brain. And now I'm just gonna fucking go. I'm gonna talk, and if it doesn't make sense, I apologize, but I'm gonna try my best. Because I start speaking and then I get a thought in my head and I immediately pivot, and it's annoying, but I just can't help it. And if I overthink it, guys, you're never gonna see me again. So we just gotta do this. But I started a new hobby. Well, I need to catch you guys up. See, look, I'm doing it again, or my brain just can't. I need to catch you guys up because it's been a while that we've like caught up and everything. And I feel like the last time I probably gave you updates on the podcast, like I don't even know, it was probably, I literally don't know actually when the last time was. But I won't go into like how my holidays were and everything, because that feels like so long ago. So like, I don't think anyone gives a fuck, but I did go home for the holidays last year. It's February, girl. And I spent time with my family. I was really sick over Christmas. So honestly, it was one of the worst Christmases I can remember in recent years, which is sad. Just because I was really sick and I felt like I couldn't enjoy it to its full potential because I was ill. And then I got back to Austin and I had a horrible cough for like 10 days. Have you ever just had a cough that will not go away and you're coughing every 5 minutes? Yeah, I had that for about 10 days and it was really bad. And then it got better. And over the last 5 weeks, I kind of said this, but I've really been focusing on my health. I know, crazy, right? But not in the sense of like I'm on a crazy diet or I'm doing a crazy workout routine, but just waking up every day and prioritizing movement first before I get to everything else. When I was really stressed out in Q4, I would be like, oh, I have so much to do today. Like I can't work out. I just need to like start my things and get things done. And I'm so stressed out and I have so many things to do. And now I'm like, I don't care how many things are on my plate. You're going to wake up. You are going to move, whether it's just walking on your goddamn walking pad, going outside, whatever it is, but you need to move. And then you can get started with your day, because the way my brain works, I don't know what it is, but if I don't exert some sort of physical activity in my day, especially in the morning, it's super hard for me to focus. It's super hard for me to formulate thoughts. And I kind of get in this mindset where like, if I'm not like kind of productive, at least somewhat productive in the morning, like it's so hard for my brain to be productive the rest of the day. So that's what I've really been focusing on the last 5 weeks, is like, you're going to get up and you're going to move and then you're going to start your day. And I felt a lot better mentally and physically, but mainly, honestly, the mental benefits have been the biggest thing of them all, because it's just been so nice to not feel nearly as cloudy or anxious or sad as I was last year. So I'm really trying to implement changes into my life in 2025 to just feel better, because I don't want to get back to that place that I was last year, even though I know I probably seemed fine. I tend to be pretty good at masking things. I always have been, but deep down I was not okay. I was so anxious all the time. And I'm not saying I wouldn't get back on a medication at some point, maybe, but just that Wellbutrin one was not fucking working for me, guys. Being constipated is not chill. Like, it was so bad. But okay, so catching you guys up. So that's been the last 5 weeks, and I've spent a lot of the last 5 weeks really prioritizing my organic content that I've been posting and trying to be consistent with that, and trying to make the content that, you guys want to see, whether it's vlogs or my Ninja Creamy or recipes, or I say that and I've literally posted one recipe. And I posted some stuff about workouts, and it's been fun. So I've really been trying to prioritize my organic content. I've kind of taken a step back from brand deals. I've still done a few this month, but not nearly as many as I was last year. Like, I've been saying no to more and just really wanting, I guess, to prioritize more of my organic content. I have taken a few opportunities that are like with brands I really love, that I'm about products and stuff that I'm excited about, or things that I'm excited about, but I've definitely turned down more recently, just because I'm like, wait, I've been loving having time to focus on my organic content and edit and, start up the podcast again. And I have a new YouTube video coming out soon. That'll probably be out by the time this launches. I'm not really sure. And I signed up for a 6-week pottery course. So you might have seen this on my socials, but I've been doing pottery once a week for 3 hours, which honestly, pretty low lift. So if you want to start a new hobby, you don't necessarily need to go and do something every single day or 4 times a week or whatever. You can just do it once a week for a couple hours. And yeah, the whole reason I did it is because Rafa and I went to a little like pottery date night a couple months ago, and I'd never done pottery before. And I went into it being like, oh my God, I'm going to hate this because I'm just really impatient. I've never been good at art. I remember in 8th grade, my art class, the teacher being like, you are not good at this. Like he didn't say I wasn't good at it, but like I got bad grades and like I just never paid attention. Like I didn't care about it, which so sad. Like I can't believe I had the opportunity to sit in an art class and learn about art and I didn't fucking take advantage of it. Meanwhile, now I'm like, I would love to retake 8th grade art. And then I went into this date night at Amano and I loved it. And I was like, wait, this is so fun. Like it just felt so good to sit down and work with my hands for a couple hours and not be on my phone. I spend so much time on my phone or on screens that I was like, honestly, I can't really remember the last time I just sat down and worked with my hands for multiple hours on end. So I ended up loving it. Then I was like, you know what? New year, new hobby. Let's sign up for the 6-week course. I'm in my 5th week. Guys, I've made a mug. I've made many bowls. I've made some plates. I've made a candle holder. It's been so fucking fun. There's been its challenges for sure. Like I've gotten frustrated as fuck because I will spend forever trying to throw this thing and then it just falls and it sucks and I have to smush it all up and restart over. But it's good to get frustrated. You know, it's good. I'm trying to embrace the frustration and remember that I'm learning and I'm doing something positive, and I don't know, it's been cool. So I've been doing that the last month. God, what else? I've been trying to eat my protein. I just had a chomp before this. Yeah, I've really been trying to prioritize eating more protein. I used to my eating schedule used to be really bad. Like I would like eat breakfast and then just like snack throughout the day rather than like having lunch. I just eat a bunch of snacks, like protein bar and then a shake, and then I'd have chips and I would eat all these like random snacks, and then I'd have like a really big dinner. And I just was not eating like 3 balanced meals by any means a day. And some days I'm not still, but I've really been trying to eat just like more protein and prioritize it at every meal. And it keeps me fuller longer and I'm snacking less, because I used to just like be snacking on chips and popcorn and like shit like that all the time. So I'm trying to just be like, okay, protein. I was also laughing today because I was thinking about how when I was in like high school and college, if I would like go through a phase where I'm like, okay, I'm going to like start eating healthy and I want to like lose weight or whatever, get snatched, whatever, in like high school and college, I used to think the healthy thing to do was eat like Beyond Meat. Like, why was that my go-to? Like, I'm not saying like it's unhealthy or healthy. I don't really know. I do know that there has been stuff that's come out about some plant-based proteins that has like a lot of seed oils and soy and not great ingredients, and that it's actually not that good for you, apparently. I don't know. Don't quote me, but I've heard that. But it was funny that I always opted for that. Like, whenever I'd be like, I'm going to go get healthy, I would go to the store and just buy plant-based meat. And I don't know why. Like, I thought that was the key to like losing weight for whatever reason. And I've never been vegan or vegetarian, but for some reason it was like, I thought for so long that being healthy meant not eating meat. And I'm sure you can have healthy diets not eating meat for sure, obviously, but I'm eating more meat than I have ever. I've been eating more red meat specifically than I have ever. And Mama feels great. I've been loving it. I've been loving eating more meat. I've had more energy. I felt better mentally. I know I've said that like 15 times in this podcast, but it's true. I felt so much better mentally. And I've been staying fuller longer, and I've been seeing more results working out. But yeah, it was just funny. Like, I don't know why I was like obsessed with plant-based meat for a time there, but I feel like it was like heavily marketed to us like 10 years ago. It was pushed so hard that we were all like, oh, that's so healthy. Like, let's just eat black bean burgers all day. Actually, black bean burgers do kind of slap. Like, they actually are pretty good. So yeah, I think that kind of explains why I stopped the podcast, and hopefully that makes sense. And again, my apologies, guys, for letting you down. I never want to let y'all down and like get you excited about something and then not deliver. But we're all human, and as much as I envy the creators or the people that like are so consistent and like so mentally stable, that just was not me last year. But I'm really trying to make my comeback this year and be more consistent and give you guys good episodes. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it sounds corny, but just like no one's perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect. And I bit off more than I can chew, and I overwhelmed myself. And this time around, I'm really setting my schedule and being intentional with my time so that that doesn't happen again, and trying not to procrastinate everything, even though I still do. And I think there's a couple things I'm actually procrastinating as we speak that I'm remembering I need to do after this. But I didn't really talk about my new setup, but you guys know I used to record on my bed and it was just uncomfortable. Like my posture, that was not chill. Like it was not comfy. And then I know that when I first started, I was like in a podcast studio. So I debated, do I go back to the studio? What do I do? And I realized I just got to do my setup at home. Obviously, I wanted to make it cuter and more aesthetic. That's why we're on my couch. And I feel like this is a much better background than it was in my bedroom. And I just feel like I'm so much more comfortable in myself and normal and like, well, maybe not normal, but like I'm much more myself when I'm home in my space, in my environment. So as much as I'd like to go back to a studio where like the quality is crisp as fuck, I just think this is how you guys will get the best version of me, is right here. So we're on my couch. That's my dining room in the back. And I have, you can't see it, but I have my camera in front of me. I got a lighting set up. I have my computer and my microphone with, I think it's called a mixer down there. I have all the blinds shut in my apartment because the best light for like the studio lighting is to have the blinds shut. But it is really cold and rainy and stormy today and dark. It's just like a dark day. I don't know how this will look when it's super bright because this apartment does have very good lighting. So I don't know how the camera will look once it's a really bright day. Also part of my learning curve as to why it took me a while to get the podcast back up and running was like learning, because like beforehand I was using kind of like a shitty cheap mic on my bed that I got off Amazon that like plugged into my computer. Was not the best mic. I don't know if you could tell. This mic is much better, and I had no lighting or anything. And now I had to learn like the lighting setup, the camera, and then I used to just record the podcast on voice memos on my computer, and now I'm recording it on GarageBand. Okay, so we have like a legit setup. We have better audio. I got 2 mics. We can have guests on. I'm actually excited to have guests on. That was another thing I would stress myself out about, was like, oh my God, I need to have like guests on and like whatever. And I would be like so nervous. Like, I don't want to ask like people I don't know to come on. Like, what am I going to talk about? Like, I would get all stressed out. Like, am I supposed to interview people? And I realized I can have a guest if I want to, and I can have a guest if I don't want to. Like, it doesn't matter. And if I just want to have like my friends and people that I know on, great. I don't have to have on Dr. I don't know what on the podcast. Like, that's not what this podcast is. But I was just so stuck in comparing myself to others and what they did that I was like convinced I was going to have to like welcome Dr. I don't know what into my apartment, and like we're going to have to sit on my couch and like record an episode together. But it's like, I don't have to do that if I don't want to. Like, you forget that you can just do things your way. You don't have to like copy what other people are doing or like compare yourself to what other people are doing. So yeah, that's my spiel on that. Yeah, basically the podcast is getting a revamp. It's still called Tearing It Up. It's still the same old shit, but we're kind of revamping, and I'm still having the same cover and photos and everything that I took though for it last year, because I do still love those. So that's not getting a rebrand, but yeah, that's the tea on the podcast. So I hope you guys are excited to be back, because I'm excited, and I'm ready to take all the things that y'all said to me last year that you wanted to hear more about and talk about them and feel not stupid anymore, because I'm not stupid. I was just feeling stupid, and I'm not actually stupid. And I was just in my own head. Like, do you ever just feel like there's just someone saying everything already, and like it leaves no room for you to have anything to say? Like, do you ever just scroll social media and you just feel like everybody's talking about everything? So like, what is there left for you to talk about? I don't know if that makes sense, but sometimes I just feel thoughtless. And then I take time off social media and I'm like, I have so many thoughts and so many things to say, but I'm just bombarded with too much on the internet that it makes me feel dumb. Yeah. Same. So yeah, I feel like that was a really long drawn out explanation, but I just wanted you guys to know where I'm at and what happened. And I also I've been working with a close friend here in Austin who helps me with editing and the production of the podcast and everything. And that is going to help me be able to get out episodes faster for you guys. And I was like last year, I was editing the episode literally the morning of the launch and like scrambling to get things out. That's not going to happen anymore. Okay. We're working in advance. I have a close friend, Priscilla, who helps me with editing. Hi, Priscilla. You're probably editing this right now. And then she edits, she gives me like a rough cut, and then I go through and I make sure everything is good to go. And then we upload and we're here. That's the behind the scenes pretty much, if you guys were curious. Also, it's so funny because last year I remember thinking like, oh my God, starting a podcast like that'll be so fun and easy. And like all you do is sit down and talk to a camera, right? And in retrospect, it is easy in that sense. But I was pretty surprised by just like the amount of time it took to go into editing and creating an intro and an outro and then exporting it and uploading it to YouTube and writing the captions and making the timestamps and making the thumbnails and then making the promos and the clips and stuff for social media. Like, it's definitely for anyone out there who potentially wants to start a podcast. I say do it for sure. But no, it's definitely more work for sure than just sitting down and yapping to a camera. Like, you know, between the editing and the uploading, the exporting, and then all the assets in order to like properly promote it, it's quite a bit of work, and you need to make sure that you have the time to do it, or you'll be like me last year who started it and then was like, I have no time and I'm stressed. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to shut up about that because you guys get it. I've been reading the last month and it's so cute. So my parents are older. I know I've said this, but they're like in their 70s and they like early 70s. Oh, fuck. They like never tell me their age, but they're in their early 70s. I don't know exactly the number actually. And my dad is so cute. My parents are weirdly, even though they're older and they're boomers, like they're so supportive of what I do, which is so cute because they're super traditional and they always wanted me to like, you know, go to school and go to college and then get a job, like a proper job after. And they're just like traditional in that sense. But for whatever reason, when I started doing social media and I explained to them like what I was going to do with it and these different endeavors I was going to start, they were really supportive. And I'm kind of realizing right now, like, that's really cool. So thank you, mom and dad, because you guys, they've really been so supportive of me. And my dad especially, like, he's so cute. He loves it. And I made this video the other day where I basically just like reintroduced myself on social media. And I talked about, it was crazy making this video because it made me reflect so much on the last couple of years. But I basically posted this video where I explained, you know, that I'm from Oregon and I went to college, and the second I graduated, I landed my first job in Austin, and it was at this local marketing agency, and I moved here with my ex and we got a 1-bedroom apartment. And then basically there was just all these changes that happened over the course of the last few years here, from like job changes and hating this job and then liking this job and losing that job and breaking up with my boyfriend and being single in Austin and meeting, and so many little changes happened, both ones that I made and both ones that were they just happened without really me wanting them to happen, and how they kind of all those roads led to here. And anyways, I made this whole video and it's just reintroducing myself and telling my story of the last few years. And my dad texted me like, I cried at your video. You're a rock star. Like, it was so cute. My dad is literally the cutest person ever. And I just like literally made me cry. Anyways, off of that, he sent me a couple months ago, maybe it was for Christmas or my birthday. He mailed me 2 books. I'm sorry, I keep saying he's cute, but this is just cute. About like, he bought me these books on Amazon about social media and like influencing and content creation, like, but like formal, like chapter books about these topics. And I mean, I would never probably pick up a book like that. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to read, I want to be like distracted and not thinking about like work or social media. Like, I want to be just like reading about, I don't know, fairies fucking each other. But he sent me these books, and the other night, Rafa and I were like, let's pick up reading, or a couple weeks ago, we're like, let's pick up reading again. You know, we've kind of fallen off. So I looked at my bedside table, and the only book I had that I hadn't read was this book called like An Influencer's World that my dad sent me for my birthday. And I was like, and literally, guys, the cover of this book is a ring light. Like, it's so funny. But I was like, should I pick this up and just try it? Like, I don't know. And so, yeah, I picked it up and I started reading it. I don't know, maybe like 50 pages in, but it's so funny because it actually, I don't know why I